From John Jones's multiple DUIs to his hit and run that put a pregnant bystander in intensive care, John Jones has a lengthy criminal history. While he's had his fair share of legal problems during his long MMA career, you might be wondering, how many times has Jones been arrested? Well, the shocking answer is 5. These arrests happened because of DWI, DUI, domestic violence, and other things. But when did it all start? Has he always been like this?
I think when I come back as a heavyweight, I'll try to do more legally controversial.
For that, let's look at the earliest offense that got him in trouble with the law. Let's go back to May 2012, when there was the case of a possible DUI. Yep, Bones was arrested for the first time, thought to be driving while drunk. This story isn't very exciting, at least compared to what Jones did later. He was in an accident with one car in Binghamton, New York. It was said that the UFC star was arrested after he crashed his Bentley into a pole. He was the only person hurt and got minor injuries. What's more, Jones pled guilty to a misdemeanor charge of driving while drunk after this happened. He was eventually given a $1,000 fine, told to put locks on his car's ignitions, and sent to a group for victims. And of course, he had his license taken away for 6 months. That was dealt with quite swiftly by his legal team.
I just wanted to do something that intimidated me, something that got me up in the morning.
But that was just the start of an avalanche. 2 years later, in April 2015, he was arrested again. And this time, it was an extreme case of hit and run. Basically, he was arrested for leaving a scene. In fact, the champ's biggest legal battle may have been the hit and run on April 26, 2015. The arrest warrant from the Albuquerque Police Department said that Jones ran a red light in a rented car and crashed into another driven by a pregnant woman. Jones is then said to have left the scene of the crime before coming back for a short time to grab some cash. After he got the money, he left the scene for good. Turns out, in the accident, the woman broke her arm. Later, the police found drug-related items in the car that Jones was driving. Jones was charged with a felony at first because he'd left the scene of a crime.
You know, I think in some people's mind, they envision me, hitting this car and running up and seeing that it was a pregnant lady and then taking off running.
The crime was a felony because the victim was hurt very badly. Jones finally pleaded guilty to a felony charge of leaving the scene of an accident, but he didn't have to go to jail because he was given a conditional discharge. Jones got 18 months of probation and community service for his crime. This did trigger a debate on social justice platforms about celebrities getting away with felonies. I mean, he did get away with injuring a pregnant woman because of his negligence. But then again, I'll leave it to you guys to decide that. But I will say that Bones can be a true nightmare for an attorney or a PR team. I mean, the guy got arrested again in March 2016, and this time, it was for breach of probation after the hit and run. Well, 5 days before that, Jones was pulled over in Albuquerque, New Mexico for allegedly drag racing. Jones was given tickets at the traffic stop, not for one thing, but for a series of illegal practices. He was drag racing, showing off, weaving. He didn't even have his license plate in the right place, and he had changed his exhaust pipe.
Well,
I know that you were drag racing, and I will testify to that.
That I was not drag racing.
Actually, I do know that you were drag racing.
Both know.
5 days after that, Jones was arrested for breaking his probation. After the body cam footage of the traffic stop was made public, this event got a lot of attention on social media. In this video, Bones totally denied the drag racing. Jones took a deal in which 3 of the 5 charges against him were dropped. He admitted that he had broken the law by changing his exhaust system and by not putting his license plate in the right place. All of the charges against him for drag racing, weaving, and showing off his driving skills were dropped. Jones also had to go to a school for aggressive drivers, do community service, and pay a $143 fine. The guy really does have a pretty neat legal team, since he's been practically getting away with minimum repercussions for a while. And as Jones' dad once told an interviewer, he thinks that Jones is his own worst enemy. What's more, after the multiple DUI counts, Jones was suspended by USADA, which administers the UFC's anti-drug policy. But that wasn't just just it. Fast forward to March 2020, John got arrested again, and this time it was way more concerning. Not only had he been driving under the influence, but he was also charged with careless use of a gun. He had also been driving without proof of insurance and having an open container. John Jones was able to stay out of trouble for a number of years until a car got him in more trouble with the law. On March 26, 2020, KOAT, an Albuquerque news station, said that officers were sent to the scene of gunshots. In the end, the police found Jones inside a running car. The now heavyweight champion said that he drove before he talked to the police. When the officers saw signs of drunkenness, of course, they had to break out the breathalyzer. Jones blew over twice the legal limit on the test. What's more, officers found a gun and a half-empty bottle of Recuerdo in the Jones car after they arrested him. He was then charged with all 4 counts. And again, Jones took a deal in which most of the charges against him were dropped. He admitted to driving while intoxicated, and the other charges were dropped. And just like before, Jones also had to do time in a community custody program, finish a treatment program, do community service, and pay a $500 fine as part of the deal. But hey, if you're thinking that was it, you're wrong. Now in September 2021, Bones sadly got in trouble with the law again. This time it was for misdemeanor battery, domestic violence, injury, and tampering with a police vehicle. It just keeps getting more intense, right? Well, John Jones was arrested for the last time on September 24th, 2021 in Las Vegas, Nevada, and that was just hours after his fight with Alexander Gustafsson, right after he was added to the UFC Hall of Fame fight wing. Unfortunately, this was the first time Jones had been violent toward a family member. TMZ said that a hotel security guard called the police about a possible case of domestic violence. It's said that Jones's fiance asked the guard for help, but she wouldn't come back from her hotel room.
Oh man, this is so humiliating. I got the Hall of Fame tonight, and then you're gonna put me on this.
Even though she said that he hadn't hit her, the guard told the police she was bleeding from the nose and lip. At the time of the incident, the couple's 3 daughters were also in the hotel. When the police got to the hotel, they talked to Jones. Body cam footage showed that he seemed drunk and was acting out of control before he headbutted a police car.
I hate you.
Well, Jones was eventually caught and charged with misdemeanor domestic violence and felony tampering with a police vehicle. The former 2-time light heavyweight champ again took a deal that greatly reduced the charges in exchange for pleading guilty. The domestic violence charge was dropped, and he pleaded no contest to a misdemeanor charge of destroying property. Plus, he was told to pay back $750 to the police department and go to counseling to learn how to control his anger. And the rest is history, I suppose. Well, that's it for the criminal history of the fighter who's his own worst enemy.